If you're the only black student in the classroom, you're automatically deputized as sort of assistant Professor X. Anytime anything black comes up, all eyes swivel toward me, as I'm expected to whip out a copy of the Negropedia.
So I think humor is really important in changing people's perceptions. It's not the only way to do it. You can force them, you can grab them by the neck and shake them, you can stand out in the street and yell, you can try to change laws, you can have really convincing sets of facts and information and argument in a courtroom or a lecture hall or a pulpit. So humor is one of many, but I think its unique value is in bypassing a lot of people's built-in defense mechanisms, especially when it comes to a topic like race. So many folks don't want to talk about it. They're over it, or they think we all should be. They're like, look, you got a black president, why are we still doing this? And we're not quite there yet. So using a joke, using a humorous story, some satire or parodies, you can get people at an emotional level. When folks laugh, that is a physical and sort of uncontrolled release. You're literally hacking into someone's body, and they are opening their bodies and to some degree their minds to an idea that they may not have admitted if it came in a different wrapper. So comedy can be a pretty effective way of skipping past someone's lack of desire to engage in a topic, whether it be race or anything else touchy.
Thurston is an old British name. It means property of Massa Thurston. You can see some of y'all weren't expecting that last one.
You can get concerned about using humor, quote unquote, too much or in too light a fashion, that you're making a mockery of the subject that you're trying to provide some enlightenment around. And I don't think there are any rules to avoiding that. There's got to be a level of trust on the part of the comedian or the person doing the performance and the part of the audience to interpret them in a way that maybe gives them the benefit of the doubt. But it's not the artist's job to be safe. And it's not the artist's job to kind of color within the lines. It's the artist's job to tear up the paper and create some paper mache out of it and say, I'm not coloring anything, I want to build something out of this sheet. So there should be some allowance for discomfort and pushing of the bounds. In terms of thinking about how to be black and what we should be telling our fathers, our sons, black men in the community, it's an infinitely long answer because there are that many ways to be black. I mean, I wrote this book called How to Be Black. That was a bit of a mockery. I wasn't trying to set out a finite number of ways to be a Negro person in the 21st century, but the idea, one that's worked for me, one that I've seen work for a lot of other people, is look, we can be what and how we want. And there's no set of constraints that we should apply to ourselves that says, oh, this is black, this isn't black. Walking this way is black, surfing isn't black, yoga's not black, but basketball is. Those are kind of ridiculous. And so I would be very excited if people fathers felt talking to their sons, brothers talking to their younger siblings, that whatever you do is black, because you're already that. You don't have to kind of reapply for your job as a black person every day. You got it when you were born, so let's move on. There probably is a tipping point, and I don't know exactly where it is, but there's a cumulative effect. And I think if we have enough sort of images, signals, cultural products, popular references, but also like tangible on-the-ground opportunities that reinforce those images, we can start to get there. So for example, we've got very popular images of black males in athleticism that's been built up over hundreds of years, but certainly over the past few decades, given the commercial media, given the professionalization of sports, given scholarships and advertising and music to a degree. All those have sort of conspired to maintain this positive to neutral image of black men as very athletic. There's some much more negative ones of criminality and thuggishness and irresponsibility. Again, those don't happen in a vacuum. They've been contributed to. How do we then have the black nerd be as potent an image? A lot of what's happened with our perception of ourselves is that our image wasn't managed by us. It was managed by a very small set of very wealthy and powerful people who didn't really have our interest at heart. And they packaged us and sold us back to us. And they took this wide world of hip hop and reduced it to a particular slice of rap, to this wide world of achievements and oh, you can do, there's like 3 types of black dudes you can be. And they resold and resold, and we bought into it because images work and reinforcement of those images works. Well, now that system is falling apart. There's way more than 3 stations, there's way more than 300, there are infinite stations now. And people can shoot their own stories in terms of video and editing and production. You can upload that. You can blog and articulate. You can talk back to power and coordinate in a way that was never possible before. So it doesn't guarantee success. It doesn't guarantee an improved perception, but it does increase the odds, and certainly the potential is higher than it's ever been. And I see that as a huge bright spot in the possibility of positively shifting the perception of black men.